Welcome back, YouTube. So this is going to be my first full-length video for 2023. And I wrote a post the other day talking about my journey, and I said I was going to go into more details from transitioning from a trucker to becoming financially free. And I know that quite a few of my followers drive trucks or they have decent paying jobs, and that's kind of going to be like the theme that I'm going to use for this year. Empower people and give them the information that they need to make that transition. So I have a plethora of experiences from business to business sales, sales including like gym memberships, working in warehouses, Walmart, Dollar General. I was a case slot order filler in Walmart. I worked the line in Dollar General as well. And if you have never worked at a warehouse before, that is, well, even at Walmart, they pretty much didn't have air conditioning. We were in a giant warehouse in the middle of a cornfield. And I think the motto was they didn't have air conditioning so they could pay us more to keep the cost down. So extremely hot temperatures. You're in modules throwing everything from dog food to detergent. And at that time, we had to hit a quota of around like 4,000 cases a night. So completely physical labor, and it was okay money, especially for the time if you're transitioning from like a sales job or like a minimum wage situation or something like that. That's going to give you at least a middle ground so that you can make low 40s, 50,000 a year, so that you're not completely falling back down the ladder, but you have a 4-3 split. So it gave me the flexibility so that I could have 3 days off so that I can study and kind of sharpen my skills, do my shadowing and stuff like that. I was fortunate enough to have at least network enough to get enough people around me that were investing in real estate, stocks and stuff like that. I was able to do some shadowing at Merrill Lynch for a few years. So that really came in handy. And I needed to have more money. So that's kind of where I made the transition to go into trucking, because it's really frustrating when you work and you save up, even if you're making 20, 22 bucks an hour, it's not efficient enough, or at least time-wise, it wasn't efficient enough for me to make a reasonable amount of money in a short period of time. So what I mean by that is you can take the long route, and I am a huge advocate for investing for the long term, having that base in your portfolio, and not simply trading with your entire portfolio and blowing it up. But for me to work, save up a few $1,000s, $5,000, invest it, even if it's in a dividend fund or a index or something like that, 10% a year, cool. I know you're supposed to put money in there every month. That's fine. But even if you put it in there, you get some great dividend stocks. I don't know, Verizon, Exxon, something like that. Those are a couple of my favorites, by the way. But, you get a few $100 a year. And it's like, this is going to take forever. And that was my whole thing. That was my motivation to getting into trucking and cutting down my expenses so much, which is what I'm going to get into in a moment. But that was my motivation, because it was going to take so long for me to generate a decent amount of money. So I had an apartment, a car, all that kind of good stuff. I kept my car and I got rid of everything else. I got my CDL. This was I was training up and going up for it around like 2016. Got my CDL, all that kind of good stuff, and went on the road, OTR. And I drove reefer units. Great money. You're going to clear, even on a bad week, you're going to clear around $1,000. On a terrible week, you're going to clear $1,000. Typically, you want to make around like 15 or so. So $1,000 to $15, even if you're not running, you're going to do incredible money. You don't have any expenses. My expenses were I cut my expenses low. Like I said, I had my car, my cell phone, benefits and all that were taken out out of my check. That's about it for the most part. So I could just focus. I was in the truck, like, I want to say 24/7 anyway. Because, that's what OTR is. You sleep in the truck. My truckers know exactly what I'm talking about. But you're basically never home anyway. So I use that as a leeway to kind of cut my expenses relatively low, save up a bunch of money, pay off my debt, credit cards, all that kind of good stuff, and save, study, and invest. So Even in my downtime, I would study when I was driving. Again, my truckers will know if you ever go on a long road trip, imagine doing that every day. So I'm listening to podcasts, audiobooks, all that kind of stuff like that, just simply trying to learn as much as I can to leverage the amount of money that I was saving, because virtually my car note was like $200, 240 or something like that. And so I had a bunch of extra money every month. So, and that was my leeway to generate enough money so that I can say, okay, how do I save time with enough cash to to accumulate stocks and investing, so that I can accumulate enough money to not for this process not to take 30 years. That was my whole thing. And so I started dabbling in trading. Got some again, I got some mentors. Started looking at because my first company that I started trading with was, in fact, Robinhood, as a matter of fact. Eventually, I transitioned to E-Trade and then Webull, which is like one of my favorites now. But I started on Robinhood, started trading, even playing with options and stuff like that. And the biggest thing for me was the fact that I didn't have to wait 30 years or 10 years, 6 months, or something like that to get a return. So if you go back and you look at my older videos, you'll see things like Whiting Petroleum, even some of the bankrupt stocks that were making a fortune. This is when things really started to pick up. Was like the Hertz bankruptcy, GNC, and Whiting. These are the ones where I made, these were some of the best years at that time that I've had financially. It was just kind of like that. Imagine studying for a test for a few years before you're able to, you have the opportunity to prove what you've learned. And then through some events unknown that you could have never planned for, like COVID and stuff like that, everything kind of revealed itself and you were able to execute immensely. And that's kind of where everything was. I was very happy when things like Apple and all that kind of stuff started correcting tremendously. It was literally a fire sale. When you have the market makers that kind of represent or make up most of the S&P, you have them on sale for 50%, and that's typically a no-brainer. I love seeing things like that. And it was just a great opportunity for me to build wealth. And matter of fact, let me back up. So before I did that, I was trying to save up as much money as possible, because I want to tell you about when I transitioned and I specialized, because I think this is very important too. After I got my experience, I got roughly like a year experience OTR. And if you can do a year or 2 years OTR, if you're thinking about getting your CDL, you can pretty much go anywhere. So I specialized because I wanted to make more money. So I wanted to be able to have a place so that I can, because it takes an adjustment to be OTR, but it's not something I couldn't do. It was just something that it just wasn't something that I wanted to do long term. Like I said, I got into this with a plan to get in and get out and make that transition, but the opportunity came up so that I could specialize, make more money, and be home every day. And that came through. It was still truck driving, but it had another part to it. So I wasn't just bumping docks all day. It was pneumatic transport, which is basically like you're driving a tank and you're pumping and delivering flour, sugar, plastic, stuff like that, starch from a rail yard to the consumers, the companies. So this is things for like plastic, like for the dashboard of a car, flour for bread, sugar for, I deliver a lot like to Mondelez. They make a lot of snacks and stuff like that. Starch for anything from paper to cardboard, all that kind of good stuff. And you're hooking up to rail cars, you're pumping it off, all that kind of stuff like that. But the beauty of it is you start your day if you get up 4 or 5 a.m., get at the rail yard by 6. And if you're efficient enough, you should be on your way home by about 4. Things happen. It could be a little later, but you're making the same, if not more. You can make $1,500 in a week, but you're home every day. You can make $2,000 in a week and be home every day. It was just right up my alley so that I can I could kind of just balance between income and what I wanted to do, which was study, network, and stuff like that. And that really allowed me to kind of speed things up, which was cutting my expenses low and generating a bunch more money so that I can focus on the investing aspect and allow myself to make mistakes, figure out what works, what doesn't work, my personal weaknesses as a trader, as an investor. And it kind of, and I know a lot of people will not have that opportunity, but it gave me reducing my expenses next to nothing. It gave me the freedom to, and the comfort to make those mistakes. Because a lot of times you have people who, and I think this is one of the things that kind of hurt on YouTube a lot, was the moon boys and stuff like that. It was everything was like to the moon shot. So you have people investing 100% of their capital and not being able to afford, or it would take them a really long time to recuperate that income. So it was just a blessing to be in that position, so that, if I lose $1,000, $2,000 this week for a bad trade, or I didn't take profits, I thought it was going to go up, I couldn't read candles properly at the time, stuff like that, it's okay. I'll make it back next week. So it really allowed me to kind of expedite that learning curve, which is what I was looking for. That's what I wanted this entire time. That's why that's the emphasis behind me learning how to trade stocks and options and stuff like that, because I wanted to cut down on that time frame that everything took. So during that time, while I was working on the rail yards and stuff like that, I was learning candles, indicators, investing in stocks and stuff like that. When I started trading, which is the conclusion that I came to that I had to learn how to do so that I can still do long term, but free myself eventually. Learning how to read candles, indicators, and stuff like that, that was really huge. And playing with my favorite stocks to trade at that time were Tesla and SPY. To this day, I still love Tesla and SPY. But I remember at that time, I had it figured out almost as good as I had Whiting Petroleum figured out, with like the pump and dumps and the swings and stuff like that. It was, I could, like, even the time frames, like, because not like Whiting, I knew that it was going to pump between like around 10 a.m. and then one more time at around 2 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays were the most aggressive days before they filed for bankruptcy, and they did a reverse stock split and stuff like that. And Tesla was swinging 30, 40 bucks a day. It was just a trader's dream. Like, it was just like, you literally just had to get on the other side, do your puts, do your calls. And it was like clockwork. So it was just a really great time to gain that experience. And then with the capital, you're able to invest a lot more, because and I get it, not everybody's going to be able to do this unless you just saved up a bunch of money and you're just really confident and stuff like that, your skills. And I get that not everybody's going to be able to do this unless you're just really confident or you have a bunch of money saved up. But the removal of my expenses really allowed me to be a lot more aggressive, and that allowed me to generate the money that I needed consistently, so that I can become free. And I'm going to create a series of videos kind of going over different steps. I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of my story and my background in this video. But, creating those daily targets, I'll go over some of them now. Creating those daily targets for trading, saying that you want to hit $100 a day, $200 a day in trading, not forcing trades. If you don't like a particular setup, or if you're unfamiliar with the setup, it's okay to pass. You don't have to, it's better to maintain your capital than to try and force a trade on a setup that you're not familiar with. Setting stop losses, not being greedy and thinking something is going to continue to go up when you have like instincts, or, you're looking at like volume and stuff like that, and it's looking like a reversal is coming. And despite what if you're trying to trade the news and being new, if your indicators, whatever method you can't change methods mid trade and stuff like that. It's just a bunch of things that I learned to kind of learn. Typically, I guess experience is the best teacher for sure, but typically you kind of learn by, getting your butt handed to you. But the income that I generated from trucking, I can honestly say that if it weren't for the trucking industry, I wouldn't be here, obviously. And I was covering stocks a lot on my channel No, I know I'm kind of segueing here. And then crypto, obviously, it enthused me greatly. I still hold Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, all that kind of stuff. And I know that I pivoted my channel to mostly the crypto, to Dogecoin specifically, over like the last year. But Doge in itself, I love the Doge community and all that kind of stuff. Crypto, I love where it's going. I'm a firm believer in the future of crypto, but I do want my channel to be more inclusive and give the information that actually set me free, that actually allowed me to become the investor that I am today. Because those learning how to do TA and all that kind of stuff, I know people enjoy my channel for having a no fluff approach and for me being down to earth, etc. I read your guys' comments. I appreciate all of that, but it wasn't completely because of crypto that allowed me to be free. So I wanted to be more inclusive this year with the total process of things that I'm investing. If you're inside of my Patreon and stuff like that, you'll know that I trade options, stocks. I do occasional swing setups and stuff like that. And that's typically where most of my money comes from. So even to this day, because I know how to trade, it makes it easier for me to hold those long-term positions. So if I'm in something like a Bitcoin and it goes to 10,000, that's fine. If I'm in something like a Doge and it goes to 6 cents, that's fine. It's not the pressure there to, that it needs to go up this month because I have all my money in there, or I'm broke, or I over leverage myself and stuff like that. I have the ability to go into the market on any given day and come out with profit. And I want that for all of you guys. So that's what I'm going to do a combination of this year, because I know not everybody can cut their expenses down and become a trucker, but it can certainly give you, if you can do something similar, it can kind of give you the freedom to generate that extra revenue that you have to learn and do those and go through the learning curves of investing. That's going to be really important for a lot of people on this journey. And if you want to take that journey with me, I'm going to be having a lot of videos and stuff like that covering that this year. So certainly subscribe to the channel, like this video, and we're going to have a very interesting journey this year. I think that we're going to be able to help a lot of people and change a lot of lives going forward, because I think that 2023 and 2024 is going to provide a lot of opportunities for the people that are ready. And I know, based off of the comments and even some of the conversations that I have inside of my group, I know that a lot of people are ready. So, that's what luck is, right? When preparation meets opportunity. So I believe in all of you. I know everybody's going to have their own unique story, and some of you are probably even in better positions than me when I was driving trucks. So, you're just waiting on the information. Preparation, luck, opportunity, they all meet together, and you're going to have some great results. And I believe a lot of people are going to have that this year. If you're interested in coming on this journey with me in 2023, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. And this week I'm going to release a bunch of updates and on how we're going to do that. I'm going to bring on some guest speakers. We're going to go over some TA. We're going to break down everything that's in the market. I think that we're going to be able to get a lot done. So I'm not going to make this video too long. I know it's already long enough, but for the most part, that's my story. So again, subscribe to the channel if you want more. This is January 1st, 2023. You'll probably get this tomorrow, because God knows I have to edit this. But I appreciate all of you, especially those of you who've been with me for the last year, 2 years, and just hang on, because we're going to kick it up a notch in 2023. I'll see you in the next video.